All right. MG1, no nopes, just pure MG1. 365. Oh, right. Merdard is in. Brightness is up. Volume is up. Oh, excuse me. Hello, hello.
How's it going?
How's it going? It's Merdard?
Yeah,
Yo, man, you look really familiar. I think I had you in my class, right? My first, maybe my second year?
I think was second.
Second
Uh,
year?
look familiar too. What was my class? Was it police sci?
No, I think it was writing or like English.
Oh yes.
It was
Yeah.
writing, right? It's the writing 10 effort. Yeah, because I was like, man, because like I remember I always wanted to talk to him. I'm like, man, he's always like very quiet. I don't know if he's like mad or if he's serious, but no, yeah. I mean, it's like it's cool finally getting to like network with you, getting to know you. But yeah, man. I mean, how's your day going so far?
My day's going okay, man. I just woken up. I was doing some stuff, just cleaning the house and stuff, and that's been it. How's yours going?
There you go, there you go. No, I feel it, man. Yeah, same. Just woke up, went to church in the morning, but then I did some cleaning, cooked for my family actually, and yeah, and then I was like, oh man, I have this meeting, but I was like, and then my Wi-Fi started to have problems, and I'm like, no, like hopefully like it works, so like I was trying everything, but everything turned out good. Just had to reset it real quick, but
Hmm.
yeah, man. I know you're interested, in, obviously, learning maybe more about this business opportunity, things like that. But, I actually wanted to have this meeting, just so we can kind of get to know one another. So we won't talk, I'd say, too much about business. I kind of want to
Hmm.
just get to know you a bit more, and I want you to get to know me, just so, we know who we are, see if our goals, if our values align. How does that sound?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah.
That sounds
Okay.
great for
Okay. For
sure.
sure. For sure. Yeah, my man. So, I mean, I can share a little bit about myself. My name is
Hmm.
Christopher Castañeda. I am going into my third year now. Have a background in management, business, and economics, and I have I'd say experience with like finance and banking. But a little bit more about me. Like, if I'm being completely honest, I never used to be like the person I am today. Like the way I dress, the way I carry myself, the way I act. Like, if I'm being completely honest, my first year in college, my first year at UC Merced, matter of fact. I was just like crazy. I was going to parties, I was smoking, I was drinking, I was just doing everything that, maybe like, a typical, maybe average Latino kid would kind of do, back then, especially hanging around with like the people that I kind of grew up hanging around with. So it was just a lot of, I'd say, like negative association, just like pretty much surrounding myself with people who, who didn't really want, to do more. I'd say like didn't weren't really ambitious, didn't really have that many goals, and so that was kind of like it for me, like almost my whole life growing up. I do come from an immigrant family. My mom and my dad, they came when they were very young, from Mexico. With no papers, nothing like that, and so. Pretty much all they know what to do is just to work. So they've always worked to put a roof over me and my siblings' head, just so we could have food on the table and things like that. So seeing that growing up, not really spending so much quality time with them because they're always working two or three jobs, really made me ambitious. Not just to like, I'd say want to just get money, but to want to do more, like more around the house. Be able to just provide for myself, be a little bit more independent. But obviously, as I grew, it became challenging because there's school. So I went to school. I would hang around people that maybe weren't so good for me. Um, so I kind of just like had to navigate my way through like school, try to hang around the right people, and sometimes I was doing good. Then once I hit like I'd say high school, I took like a really big detour. I just hung around with people who just really weren't, um, I'd say very goal oriented, and they just weren't like the right people. And my mom knew that. I wanted to fit in. I wanted to be cool. I would sag my pants. I would, try to like hang out with them. I would vape and all that like stuff. And so I never really asked myself, why am I doing this? I just wanted to do it to fit in, to have friends, to feel like I was cool. And that really didn't end up getting me anywhere but juvenile hall. And at 15 years old, I got arrested, you know. And what was like even worse about it was that I got arrested on New Year's Eve. So,
Oh,
yeah, so my mom was there and my dad was there actually when I got arrested in front of them. They were disappointed, they were crying, and I was in the back of the police car and there was like fireworks going off. And so I'm like, dang, like what am I doing with my life? Like Christopher, like what's going on? I'm 15 years old. I'm like getting arrested. Like this is not what I had imagined my life to be. And so, then after that, yeah, I'm only like in the juvenile hall center for like 2 to 3 days. It's like a full like the New Year's Eve weekend or the New Year's weekend. And so I didn't get out until like the Monday or the Tuesday next. And I had this big restitution fee for going in there, getting out, vandalizing an elementary school. And if I'm being completely honest with you, I didn't vandalize anything. I was just there at the wrong place at the wrong time, and because I was on camera with people who were vandalizing the school, they arrested me along with all those other people as well. And so my mom really just told me, this is a lesson. And the lesson is we're not going to help you pay for any of it. So at 15 years old, I had to get a job. I was working at Baskin Robbins for like 12 bucks an hour scooping ice cream when the minimum wage was like 14. So it was like illegal at the time, but I just took it because I needed a job. My parents didn't drive me to work. I had to ride my bike there and I had to go to a continuation school. And that was a school in a different city. And my parents were like, we're not taking you to school. So I had to ride my bike to a different city and back every single day. And so pretty much going through that, I was like, man, none of my friends have jobs. None of my friends are having to do what I go through. Like they don't really understand me. And none of them were there for me. Were there, like, I was arrested in that cell. Only my parents were there for me. Not my friends, not who I think, were like my dogs, who I was close to. So that really made me realize a lot of things. And this is something I kind of like to share with people is that, I feel that, like maturity doesn't come with age, but it comes with responsibility. And at 15 years old, I feel like I had a lot of responsibilities. I was working, I was going to school, and I was, still helping around the house. But, as kind of time went on, my mom, she kind of realized, she's like, Christopher, mijo, I know you're not a bad kid, but you're hanging around bad people. So because of this, I want to switch you school districts. So she switched me to a whole different school. I went from like one city. It was like a small town, or I'd say like from like a city to like a smaller town. Finished my last 2 years of high school there, my junior year, my senior year, and I actually got into Avid. I liked it a lot, and that's where I kind of like had the actual idea of wanting to go to college, because I never had that plan that I was gonna go to college. I had a plan that I was gonna work two jobs and buy myself like a nice car, and that was my plan because I saw my brother do that. I saw him work two jobs. He worked the graveyard shift and then he worked in the day, and he bought himself a nice BMW. But what I didn't see is that he only drove that nice BMW to and from work. And so then I kind of realized, I'm like, man, I don't want to live that lifestyle. And so my Avid teacher told me something that really impacted me. She's like, Christopher, I can see something in you that you can't even see in yourself. And I'm like, what is that? She's like, you're very talkative. You're very outgoing. You're very like, ambitious. Why don't you put that to something? I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, go to college. And I was like, I don't want to do that. You think I want to pay to go to school for 4 more years? Like, I'm good. Like, I'm not trying to do that. Like, my parents can't even afford it. Like, what's the point of even like putting like making them stress more financially if they can't? She's like, there's financial aid. I didn't even know that was a thing because none of my family went to college, so I was like the first one to go. And so she helped me with the financial aid, the FAFSA. I was able to get a scholarship to help me a little bit more, and pretty much after like that whole like experience, I'm like, man, like college is actually something I can do. I can actually get a career from this. I can get a six-figure income from this. And so I went with an open mind going to college, going to Merced, but again, I fell into the old habits. I connected with a bunch of people who I thought were really my friends, but they really weren't. They kind of just wanted to have like that short term leisure, just like fun here and there. But I saw my grades declining. I saw my mental health wasn't really there. I stopped working out. I stopped going on runs, and I just wasn't really caring that much anymore. I was like barely passing my classes, and so I'm like, all right, I need to try something new. Let me like do something that's out of my comfort zone. Let me join a club on campus. I joined business society. Yes, it helped me a little bit on how to dress more. I learned how to dress business professional, business casual, casual, smart casual, things like that. It did enhance some of my soft skills, but I'd say ultimately what it did do was actually open the door for this opportunity. Yes, I'm a management business economics major, but because I had like that business society background, just how I reached out to you on LinkedIn, my business partner now, his name is Tona. He actually reached out to me, and he's like, hey, I saw you had a background in business. I'm not sure maybe you'd be interested in this opportunity or not. And so me, when someone brings me an opportunity, I'm like, all right, maybe this is a sign from God or something. I don't know. Let me just try it out. It doesn't hurt to try. He's not charging me any money. Just a little bit of my time to learn about something new. Why not? And so that's something kind of my dad always told me. Always learn from people who are smarter than you, because you never know what you can learn. And when I saw this guy's LinkedIn, I'm like, all right, this guy works for Meta. This guy has worked for Levi Stadium, and he's a business owner, and he's 19, and he goes to San Jose State University. I'm like, how is he doing all these things as a teenager? Like at 19, like I've never met anybody like that. And so I was like, I gotta connect with this guy. He probably knows something that I don't. And so after that, it kind of just led me up to where I am now. Just been consistent for like the past year, building up my own business, just networking, talking to people out there in Merced, just trying to connect with more people who are, like minded and ambitious. I know that was kind of a lot. You're probably like, dang, this guy's life is crazy. But I just wanted to share it a little bit. Usually like to share this with people when I first meet them, just so they don't think like, oh, he's so perfect. Like, he dresses sharp, this, and that. Like, I didn't start like this. So that's just a little bit about me. But I kind of wanted to ask, Merdard, like, if you mind just sharing, anything about yourself. It doesn't have to be your story. It could be Merdard's story. It could be maybe like your, I don't know, education or whatever you want to share about. But honestly, you could just share whatever, man. Because I don't want this to be like an interview. I just want to get to know you.
Yeah, of course. I mean, to be honest with you, I was kind of on a similar path, except mine was more like I was always trying to do something.
Mm,
So how, all right, let me start. High school, sophomore year. I always had a passion for like making stuff. I love the idea of thinking about something and then making it happen. You know what I
mm-hmm.
mean?
Yeah.
Like ideas, just bringing them to life.
Like you visualize it and you want to do it.
Exactly that. So I'm a big fan when it comes to programming and starting stuff, but at the same time, what I've realized is most of the times I don't always have open door or like
Mm,
anyone with the same vision, especially my surrounding,
yeah.
different visions. For example, after high school, most of my friends went into working. I
Yeah.
could work, but then I was like, dang, I'm really trying to go past all of this. You know what I mean? I don't want to go from school to a regular job, living from paycheck to paycheck.
Hmm.
I was like, dang, what could I do that could help myself? So I went to college, and I went to college. I went to college first. I went for computer science and stuff.
Oh, okay.
It was good. It
Yeah.
was good, but I was really struggling with math, and
Mm,
ended up what you want to call it being on academic dismissal.
mm,
So I had to rethink everything. I was like, man, I really want to do it, but is it worth it? You know what I mean?
yeah.
So I spoke to my counselor and stuff like that. Ended up switching my major to poli sci. And the fun fact is, my love for coding is so much that even right now I code on my own timing. I
Oh,
do
wow.
program and everything, making websites, but it's always been something that I've never had anyone to connect with. You know what I mean? Like I've had to do everything on my own. No one to collaborate with, no one to talk to about my goals and stuff like that. Because my environment, we're kind of like I live in an environment. It's a bunch of immigrants. Like all of us here is immigrants. We got immigrants from everywhere.
Yeah.
So most of the people, it's just straight after high school, go get a job, go do this.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's not
Yeah.
something I see for myself. You know
Yeah.
what I
It's,
mean?
it's like they have like that old school mentality.
Yeah.
Yes, I
I
understand.
because most of my friends now, I'm trying to call it. Let me not say they don't have a goal,
Yeah.
but there's you sometimes you can look at you can look at a person and you're like, okay, this person is doing this, and you might ask yourself, is this the only thing they want to do in life? So I don't want to live that type of life. It's kind of like I know I can do more for myself,
Mm-hmm.
but really I'm trying to call it something to hold into that could be like, oh yeah, bro, you should do it. I'm doing this too. Kind of like somebody else who has a vision for themselves.
Exactly. I know what you mean.
Yeah, so it's kind of sometimes it's discouraging because I feel like, dang, I'm doing all of this. For example, I just came back home from college, and I came back. Some of my friends already, they're already ahead of me in terms of financial wise because they chose to work and stuff. But I keep myself motivated by telling myself, yeah, they are having a kind of like a head start,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm behind in terms of goals and everything. I got my things straight. They can get there before me, but at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day, I'm gonna get there too. So one thing about me also is, yeah, I love coding, man. I love opportunity. That's what this when you contacted me, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this, and
Yeah.
I'm trying to get out of my comfort zone because I've realized
Mm-hmm.
the reason why I didn't connect as much. I'm quiet.
Mm.
I'm quiet, and I'm an introvert.
Yeah.
So one thing I told myself was this year I'm gonna do things outside of my comfort zone.
Mm.
So what part of the reason why when you contacted me, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna reach back to this person, and that's something I've been doing this whole time. Is just trying to get out of my comfort zone. So yeah, man, the opportunity, I'm down for it.
Yeah.
I'm really down for. I want to see what's up with it.
No, yeah, definitely, definitely, man. And I mean, something that I got away from you, like, first of all, thank you for sharing, was that, one, you have a really big passion for coding. And that's awesome, like me, I'd say for me, it's like a big passion for like, I wouldn't say coding necessarily, because I did try coding. I did like one Python class, and man, like that class almost cooked me. I passed with an A. I honestly don't know how, but I got a lot of help. I went to a lot of like office hours, stuff like that. But besides that, I still have a really big passion for like wanting to like help people, but also like be able to like I say like wanting to start my own business, because I didn't share this with you, but as a kid, growing up, because I didn't have like my family didn't really have the finances. I was always that kid with like I would come to school with an extra backpack or like a duffel bag, and I would sell candy, chips, or like drinks. So I was always that kid. People were like, "Oh, Chris, do you have the stuff today?" I'm like, "Unzip it. All right, Arizona chips. Here you go." So people always knew me for like kind of being a hustler. Wanting to like think outside the box when it came to like making money. But something else that that you really said that you like indirectly said it. You didn't say it, but I noticed that you're very humble. Because like most people nowadays, they have this really high ego. They're very egotistical. But like you said, some people might get there before you, but some people might. But you're on your own lane. You're doing yeah, what you're passionate about, but you're also you're trying to like set goals for yourself. Like this year, you're trying to do something like that's outside of your comfort zone, and I like that you said that that you're introverted, that you don't need you're quiet, but that has the strengths to it. That means you're very observant. You can read a room perfectly. Me, I'm the complete opposite. I'm gonna be so honest with you. I'm extroverted and I'm loud. So me, like you probably think a lot before you speak. Me, I don't think. I just speak. And then after, I'm like, oh wait, that could have hurt his feelings. Oh wait, I didn't put myself in his shoes before I said that. And that's after I already had said it. So that means the consequences had already hit me. See, you think about all the consequences beforehand and like, okay, what should I say? So you're very calculated. So it's not a bad thing, but it's good that you're aware of it. But no, yeah, like that's really cool, man. Like it's cool to get to know more about you, because because I wouldn't have even known that you had a passion for coding. What kind of like made you want to like I'd say like, or what like opened the door to like coding for you? Like was it at a young age you started doing it?
Yeah. So like one thing about me, I didn't share this, but I'm a refugee. Yeah. I was
Okay.
I'm Congolese, but I was born in a refugee camp in Tanzania where my parents flew or ran from war, conflict, and things of that nature.
You're lying. Wait, are you from? You said you're Congolese?
Congolese, like from Congo.
From Congo?
Yeah.
I just met my first person from Congo. My last business trip.
Yeah.
His name was Shadrach. And man, I love this guy's energy. Like I would show you pictures of him. Like man, I was like, I assumed I was like, I think he's from Congo, but I'm not sure, because you kind of have like the same accent from my friend that I made, and I was like, no, I don't want to like assume, but you just shared it right now, and he's same background as you. Like he's a refugee as well. He's Congolese, and let me show you pictures. This is actually insane, because I just had the meeting, like I just had this business trip, like I think like a little less than a month ago.
I think.
His name is Shadrach.
Oh yeah, I know him. Yeah, that's my boy.
You know him?
Yeah, that's my boy. He used to live in San Diego before he went back to Indiana.
Yeah, he used to live in San Diego. Yeah, you know him, Shadrach?
Yeah.
What? How do you guys know each other?
We both live in San Diego, and we used to do the same thing. He's always been had that business mindset, and there's so many stuff he started, and he was trying to get us involved, but most of us were young, we didn't know much about it. So, but yeah, oh my God, yeah, that's Michelle Shadrach.
Yeah, no, bro, I love his energy, his attitude, his mind, bro. He like, I'm gonna be so honest, bro. I didn't share this with you, but I'm kind of just gonna share this off the bat, because I shared it with him. Bro, before this business, I was addicted to marijuana. I would smoke weed almost every single day. And because of like this business that like not just this business, but the environment, the association, the mentorship, I've been sober for like 246 days, and then I
Oh,
failed. I went back into temptation. This was just like maybe like what, a month ago. I was doing it consistently for 3 weeks smoking, and then I had this business seminar. I was like sober for 3 days. I went to this business seminar. I'm like, man, I just feel down. I don't really want to be here, but I have a team. I want to set the example. I met Shadrach. I opened up to him. I didn't even know this guy, but because of his attitude, his energy that he brought to me, and I just opened up. He's like, man, Christopher, like I'm proud of you that you're here, man. Like, just you being here, like, bro, like it's crazy. That's such a small world. I don't know how like, wow, but like, I opened
yeah.
up to him, and he just like really like was like just giving me really good positive words of affirmation that I could do it. And ever since that, I've been sober. Like I haven't smoked, and that's because not just I gave him my word, but he gave me that belief that I can do this, with or without this association, this business. But sorry, I did not mean to cut you off, but you can keep going.
Yeah. So since then I would always create stuff like what you want to call it. I love the idea of thinking about stuff. Where let me know what you call it. So there was a certain type of mud that you could create stuff from.
Mm-hmm.
I would always make stuff from that, and I love it so much. I was addicted in terms of I love the idea of just I would think of let me make a card, and I would just kind of sculpture a card from it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So when I was here, I was 10. I love video games and stuff. So I
Mm-hmm.
was like, man, I want to create my own video games. So every time I like something, I always thought about a way where I could do something similar or like make my own ideas come to life too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, damn, I love video games. I want to make my own video games. But
Yeah.
I didn't start. I didn't know who to reach out to. So it was kind of an idea. So and then after that, I would jump into Roblox, and Roblox I was on it like all the times.
Yeah.
Like I want to make my own Roblox games. I just don't want to be a consumer. I want to
Yeah.
be a person who's
Yeah.
making what the people are playing. But I didn't know where
Absolutely.
to start.
Yeah.
And I did after that a little bit, but it was not enough. And then I learned about coding because one of my friends who I'd met was doing coding, so he introduced me to coding. He was the first connection I've made. I
Yeah.
made that kind of like shaped the path of me coding and everything. He
Yeah.
introduced. He showed me videos and tutorials that helped him out, and that's where I started. I started with Python. I was making little video games, 2D games, but then I didn't know where else to go after that. So after that, in the end, I was burnt out.
Yeah.
I took a break for like a year off, and then I came back. But when I came back, I switched from game development to web development.
Mm.
So now I'm doing web development and things of that nature. So yeah, it's that little passion for coding. That's where my passion for coding came. It started when I was young. The idea of just thinking about something and making it come to
Yeah.
life. That's about coding.
No.
Like
Yeah. I can see that. I can see that. Yeah. So you're very creative. You're very like of a critical thinker. You can just like think of like like you think of something like, all right, how can I make this into like reality? How can I put it into like a game or like a website? And you don't see a lot of those people nowadays. Like me, I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little creative, but when it comes to like coding like that, like I took a coding class. I remember back in middle school. I thought it was really fun. It was like Lego robotics, so it was kind of like coding, and I would like move like the Lego pieces to like move around and stuff like that. It was cool, but when it came to like really like technical things like that, I just wasn't so good at it because like me, like my attention span isn't that high, and then it's like I really gotta like see something. Like you gotta do it step by step for me. Like you can tell me something, but if you don't like show me, then I won't know how to do it. So I'm like very like I'd say like maybe like not the opposite of you, but I understand like how you built up that passion. That's actually like that's really great. And what a small world. I don't know like where did you meet Shadrach if you don't mind me asking?
yeah, so I met him 29. Was it 2019? 2019 or early 2020, 2019, because he's Congolese, I'm Congolese, and our family is kind of like we have this community, like Congolese community,
Yeah.
and it's a big community. But although a bunch of them have moved, Shadrach moved too and everything.
Uh huh.
But that's where I met him through because he was kind of like a mentor. I would like to think of him as a mentor.
Yeah.
Like he was the first person that kind of what's it called advised me to like read business books and books that would kind of
Mm.
like elevate my stuff. He was one of the person. Every time I think about him, I would think about the way he always talks about retirement. Like he doesn't want to work until he's old, so he would advise us to like don't just live from paycheck to paycheck. Like
Yeah.
he's that person who did not want to live a controlled life. He
Hmm.
always want to be. He always wanted to be. What you call it?
In control of his own life.
Yes, financial freedom
Financial
and
freedom.
financial freedom, education wise. Man, he's a cool guy. He's a cool guy. We talk sometimes. Sometimes he will come to you come back into town, and all of us, everybody, like the whole group, will hang out. Yeah,
No, no, that's awesome. That's awesome right now. No, like that's really cool, man. Yeah, cause like yeah, just like you said, like I met him. Yeah, we talking about financial freedom, things like that, and he really has like that business owner mindset, and that's kind of like what I wanted to like talk to you a little bit about today. So I was gonna ask you actually. I mean, you kind of answered it a little bit, but I was gonna ask like if you've ever had a mentor. You've been like mentored by someone.
yeah. I've been mentored before, but it's always been like different type of mentors.
Hmm.
I would say Meshach was the first guy, like I would call a mentor that kind of like shaped my eyes to kind of like see where like think about different sources of income.
Yeah,
Living from one what you call a form of income source or whatever.
yeah.
And other mentors always been different. Like one of my mentor, Merced, she's kind of like helped me with Bible study and stuff like that. The other mentor I had was kind of like
Mm, okay.
character wise. What you wanna call it? He would advise me kind of. It was kind of like a mix of both scripture and just as a man type
Yeah.
of mentor. So those are the two mentors that I've had
Okay.
that I could remember. Yeah.
No, definitely, definitely. No, yeah, and I mean the only reason I ask that question is because I like to ask that question to all types of people when I meet them, and most of the time they say their parents, and there's nothing wrong with that, because at first when I was growing up, I like to call my dad, my mom, my mentors, because I never really had anybody to call my mentors. But whenever I had like a problem come up or whenever I had like financial issues, I'd go to my parents. I'd be like, hey, dad, like I don't know, like how to do this. Like, what should I do? Should I open a bank account or should I not? Like, pretty much any advice I needed, I would just go to my dad because he knew more than me. Why he's older than me? I'm like, well, he would never lie to me either. He's my dad. But at the same time, I kind of realized over time, like when I, started talking to my coach, when I started talking to my mentor, that yeah, they are my parents. I do love them, but they're not really qualified to give me the advice I'm asking for. Because now I might ask my dad for some financial advice, but my dad is in debt. He's not doing so good right now financially. So if I were to take his advice, wouldn't I end up just like him? And so that's what I didn't realize, at the time my coach was able to really break that down step by step. And for me, I'm like, well, he's my dad, like why would he lie to me? Like just because he's doing that doesn't mean I'm gonna end up like that. But in the long run, if I really like took every single advice that my dad gave me, I'd probably end up, in debt or, financially unstable. And I'm not saying that, I want to put my dad down. I love my dad, love my family, but it's like when it comes to like getting advice from my parents or from my coaches now, I'm really able to like filter it out. I'm like, all right, is this advice credible? Should I apply this advice or should I just filter it out? So now when it comes to things like I'd say, yeah, like what you said, like about character development, personal development, professional development, financial development, I go to my coaches now. Why? Because they're financially free. They don't gotta work anymore. Their business is able to to provide more than their work income. So just like Shadrach said, like the reason why I'm saying I'm doing this business too is not just for I'd say for me to become financially independent, but so in the next what my parents are both 41 right now. In the next 4 years, I can hopefully retire both my parents because they've been working. My dad since he was been like what like maybe like 6 years old. My dad and then my mom's been like since she was 6 7 as well, and they're like both 41 now. So that's my goal in like the next 3 to 4 years is hopefully to be able to retire them, and obviously if I do that, I need to be retired first. So I'm 20 years old right now. By the next like 2 3 years, I want to be able to retire myself. And so when I saw this opportunity, I was like, man, I saw this opportunity as the vehicle to reach that destination. Because if I'm being completely honest, when I started, my career, when I started like going to college, I was like, I know I can work a six figure, like get a good career, get a good maybe 6 figure income, but I know that's not going to be enough to retire me, my mom, and my dad. Maybe me and my wife, but definitely not my mom, my dad. Be able to create that generational wealth for my siblings, for my like kids. So I want to be able to like leave that not just like that generational wealth, but also have that impact and legacy with other people as well. Really be able to not just like be financially free, but be able to really help other people be financially free as well. And so I feel like me and Shadrach, I feel like our values align a lot. But I actually kind of wanted to ask, because like I feel like you kind of like may have answered this already, but like what really like interested you, and kind of like the message, because I know I talked to you about like like business opportunity, mentorship, and pretty much like yeah, obviously diversifying your income. But I mean I want to ask like your major like does it align with business? And I mean it doesn't have to because I'm gonna be honest, my coach, his background is aerospace engineering. It's nothing related to business. And so you don't need to like be a business major to want to pursue business because like Shadrach said, like you should start reading these books. You're interested in program. Those two don't align, but the values you can get from it, like the mindset you can get from it. So kind of like what interested you in like the message when I first reached out to you?
Uh, I don't want to misquote anything, so I'm gonna open the message again. I don't know if you can still see me,
No, yeah, I can still see you. You're good.
but okay. I'm just gonna open it. Yeah. So first, it was the opportunity that I might be interested in over the summer.
Hmm.
I was like, you know what? Over the summer, I just don't have that type of summer where I'm just sitting at home or going to work and coming back. I want to have something else happening on the side, or like just something else happening. So that was first. and trying to call it. Another one was actively growing a online business. That, and the third one is basically diversifying income. I was like, you know, I don't want to rely on one source of income, so let me see what this guy has to say, or what he has in mind, or what the idea is. So I was like, you know what, yeah, let me reach out, let me reach back and see what's up.
Okay, for
But
sure. Yeah. I mean, and that's great, because like I like to ask people that question. Sometimes they're just like, oh, I don't know, like I wanted to meet, or people don't usually. Sometimes they don't even give me a reason. I just text them like, okay, sure, and they don't even read it. So it's glad, I'm happy that you have your reasons for wanting to be here today, wanting to learn more. Um, and I feel like, yeah, online business. I feel like that might be a big one. Cause why? Cause you like building websites and things like that. But I actually, kind of wanted to share a little bit more, not just about myself, but maybe about like more about like my mentor, about like, like the mentorship as well. Because I'm gonna be completely honest with you, this isn't just like a business mentorship, but it's like a whole life 360 mentorship is what I like to call it. Because something that my mentor told me when, I like one of the times like I first met him was, I had this really big ego. And I'm like, hey, like I really want to keep, my business separate from my own personal life. Like I don't want these two to like, go in together, like so I had like I would jump back and forth. And he told me, he's like, okay, well, if you want to have it like that, then don't even ask me for, business advice. And I was like, why? He's like, because if you're not gonna let me mentor you in your life, don't even ask me to mentor you in business. And my ego at the time was like, but why those two don't connect, they don't align. And then he's like, okay, let me ask you this, Christopher. He's like, if your girlfriend broke up with you today, would you still want to build your business? And I was like, well, not really. I'd be like, it would hurt me. I'd be emotional. I'd probably want to maybe take a few days off. And then he's like, okay, then. So if you're not going to share that with me, share that your girlfriend broke up with you, how you're feeling, your emotions, why should I even help you with business? And so then he kind of helped me, like, made me realize, how they do connect in reality, and how I really just need to, like, swallow my ego and just bend my nature on wanting to, ask for help. Because I kind of always grew up, not asking for help because, oh, if men ask for help, it's weak. Oh, like you never want to like look less than others. But in reality, my mentor was really just trying to teach me a lesson there. And so to kind of give you more information about him, his name is Phil. And just like you and I, he was an immigrant from Vietnam. He, came here when he was 18 years old, and he was working as a busboy, pretty much just washing dishes at 18. And he had broken English, so he really couldn't communicate that well with people. Now it's pretty good, but back then it was like we probably both wouldn't be able to really understand what he was saying. But I'd say by the time he was 22 years old, he was able to retire himself. And
oh
when I
well,
first heard that, I was like, I've never met anybody who's retired that young. And if I have, then it's like on Instagram and like, oh, buy my thing and you'll like be retired. I don't know. I don't believe it though when it's on social media because there's a bunch of like fake stuff on there. But when I heard that he retired at 22, I was like, wow, that's really impressive. But he didn't stop there. He retired his mom at 24, his dad at 25, and then he was able to sponsor both of his parents from Vietnam and fly them over to the U.S. And after I heard that, I'm like, wow, he must have hustled a lot. But I'm not gonna lie, my first two thoughts were like, okay, what does this guy do? And is this guy like a drug dealer or something? Because like, how do you make that much money and how do you retire that young? So I was like really like curious on, I'm kind of skeptical on like how he did it. I really wanted to meet him. And so, kind of just like you, I'm not sure if you read the message clearly, but or if I shared this with you, but essentially, we do have, I'd say, like a 7 step selection process to kind of, I'd say evaluate, someone who's interested in learning about this opportunity, but it's also a time for you to evaluate me. It's a time for you to be like, okay, is Christopher someone I'd like to partner up with, maybe long term for in the future? Is he someone I can really see myself working with? And so I was in the third step of the process. This is essentially like the first step. We're just getting to know one another, just seeing if our goals and if our values align. But I was on the third step. I went to my first business meeting. I'd never been to one. Have you been to one?
nah.
Okay, so I went to like my first little business meeting, like a business seminar. It was in Santa Clara. Where are you from? I didn't even ask you.
Well, I'm in San Diego.
San Diego? Okay, for sure. Yeah. So I'm over here, Bay Area, usually like a little bit above San Francisco, in like a small town called Novato. But I went to Santa Clara, maybe like an hour, 20-minute commute. And I remember I wanted to drive there by myself, and my mom was like, "No, you're not gonna drive there by yourself. I'm gonna take you." And I'm like, "Why?" She's like, "They're Vietnamese. They're gonna steal you. They're gonna rob you." I'm like, "Mom, all right. First of all, don't be racist, mom. And then second of all, like, why would they do that? Like they're in the same boat as us. Like, come on now." She's like, "Oh, pero like uno nunca sabe." She's like, "You never know." And I was like, "All right, overprotect the mom. It's okay. I understand. Latina mom." She ended up driving me down to the meeting. I got there late, first of all, and I was like sleeping halfway there on the car ride. Second of all, my suit and tie wasn't even like on the right way. My tie was like this short, so I had to button up my suit so like you couldn't see the short tie. And then I go to the meeting. I'm taking notes. It was all like it was really cool. It was really interesting. I was never like really in a professional environment, but it wasn't anything like I was expecting. I was expecting it to be like very very professional. Nobody's talking. You're sitting upright. But no, I walked in there. People were yelling. They were cheering, and I'm like, hey, yo, I kind of like this environment. Like, but I was really shy, because yeah, I'm someone who's extroverted. I can talk to a wall for hours. But when you put me in an environment where I don't know anybody, I'm a fly in the room, like you will not hear me. So I was all shy and stuff, wasn't really talking that much. And then my coach, I didn't even know he was my coach at the time. He was the host. He was speaking. He's like, "Oh, looks like we have someone new here today. If you'd like to, stand up and introduce yourself." I'm like, "Oh, I wonder who else is new. It's not me." He's like, "Oh yeah, you, young man, Christopher was right." I'm like, "What?" I had to stand up. I'm like, "Bro, I didn't sign up for this, bro. Y'all are putting me on the spot. Like, what the heck?" And I still have a
Right.
picture of it. I was like, I was so shy. I was like up on the stage like this, and I was talking like, "Yeah, hello everybody, my name's Christopher." And so that was great. But at the end of that meeting, I took a lot of notes and stuff like that too. But at the end of the meeting, I actually got the chance to speak to my mentor. I had the chance to speak to Phil. I introduced myself. "Hey, Phil. Nice to meet you. My name is Christopher Castaneda." I introduced myself properly, everything like that. Shook his hand. And I like right away, I'm like, all right, like I need to ask you questions because like there's no way you retired yourself. Like either one, you're a scammer, or two, you're a drug dealer. Like those were my only thoughts because I was like, I've never met anybody who's retired that young. So I was kind of skeptical. And so I asked him, I'm like, "Hey, Phil, if what you're doing is legal and ethical, will you be my mentor?" And he looked at me and he kind of just like had like this like very like bland stare. He's like, "All right." Thousands of people asking that question. Every single business seminar, every single business meeting. What makes you different from everybody else, Christopher? And little 19-year-old Christopher at the time was like, um, I pull out my phone and I read on my whole resume. I'm like, I have these skills. I started working at 15 years old. I'm experienced with this. I have cash handling. And then he was like, he just looked at me dead in the eyes. Like, that tells me nothing about you. Now you can put your phone away. And in my head, I'm like, what? I was like kind of like shocked. I'm like, no one's ever talked to me like that before. Put my phone away, and he's like, "You know what I look for in a business partner? I look for someone who has integrity, someone with communication, someone, if what they say they're gonna do matches what they do, someone with accountability, someone with transparency." And so all these things that he listed out were intangible. Like you're not able to tell this off a person right off the bat. Like I bet you and me right now, we don't know if we have any of these traits. Why? Because we haven't known each other long enough. Like that takes time. He told me like the things that I look for in people is, like characteristic traits about themselves, things you can't see that are on the inside. Because he taught me a valuable lesson that day. He was like, "Tell me the difference between honesty and transparency." And honestly, I didn't know. I was like, I can't tell you. I think they're the same, right? I'm being transparent with you is like I'm being honest with you. But he's like, no. He's like, honesty is if I ask you something, you're gonna tell me the truth. And I was like, okay, I know that. And he's like, now transparency is you're gonna tell me regardless whether I ask you or not. And so when he told me that, I'm like, oh, I see now. And pretty much after that, he's like, Christopher, like, come around. Like, I liked your questions. I want to see you more. And then people just started swarming him. But, like the way he dressed, the way he acted, the way he carried himself. I was like, okay, I can, like, right off the bat, I can tell this guy's the real deal. Like, like, I don't want to be cheesy, but I'm like, all right, this guy, like, I can sense this guy's aura. Like, like the way he just stood when, like, talked with such conviction. I've never met anybody like that. And so I continued on with the process. I was only halfway in. And so I just kept going throughout the process. And I was like, all right, well, I mean, if no one's going to charge me money to learn about this business, why not finish the whole process? Why not continue learning about something that is free? Because that's something that I liked a lot. Because me, I've always looked for opportunities, and then they're like, oh, yeah, here's the opportunity, such an amazing opportunity. You need to pay 100, 200, $300 for this course. And so that's always kind of made me back out because it's like, I don't want to feel like I have to pay for something. And so when I was able to learn about this opportunity, I'm like, all right, we believe education should be free. So the only thing that we'll ever charge you with is with your time, because we believe time is a lot more valuable than money. And it's not like if you're really interested in learning, you wouldn't mind investing some time into learning about something that can possibly retire you in the future, if it's something new, if that's something that you're looking for, and not just that, but really be able to just personally develop yourself, professionally develop yourself, and really just, I'd say, like you said, like really step out of your comfort zone, like putting yourself in that uncomfortable environment so you can grow. And so that's something I wanted to do. I'm like, all right, you know what? Let me try it out. And I just continued the process. If I'm being completely honest, I did it like a year ago last summer. I completed the process. I've had my own business for like about a year now. And it took me like about a month and a half, almost 2 months, but my business coach did it in 3 weeks. So everybody has their own like time frame. There's no like time limit or like anything like that. It's pretty much just like up to like how much effort you really want to put in. But I know I said a lot there. You might have any some questions, comments, concerns. If you have anything like that, just let me know.
Yeah. So I have a question though.
Yeah.
So like went to this what would you call it? Was it like a ceremony where like when your mom drove you, was it like a business meeting with everybody that's involved in the business? Or was it like just what trying to call it? Was it like conference?
It was like a business meeting with everybody who has their own business already.
Okay. And like what were you expecting to like to get yourself into? Like I know you said you were kind of like I get what you said, you said you were a bit late, you didn't know it was completely different from what you expected.
Yeah.
But after that, after everything, after you went there and everything, what was one thing that you left with that you were like, okay, I'm glad and I'm glad I
Yeah.
did.
So I'd say one thing I left was not just the connections, but really like the impact of people's stories. Because I learned a lot about people that day. Like, not just like regular people, but like people who were successful business owners. But I learned about their trials, their tribulations, about what they went through. Because the speakers were, it was this couple named An and Eileen. They come from an immigrant background as well. They've been doing this business for a while, and they shared with me pretty much their whole story. Cause yeah, like the business model, all that excited me, how the money works, the company and all these things like that, the products. I loved all of that. Like that all excited me. I was like, all right. After this, I was like, this sold me. Like I'm in. Like like I want to do this. Like let me finish the process. But what I really took away, because I took a lot of notes, was really like the feeling of being in that meeting. Because I learned about how it's not always gonna be sunshine and rainbows when you're trying to build your own business. There's gonna be ups and there's gonna be downs. So I learned a lot, like a lot of personal things about them, like their family members passing away. Yet they still had this determination, this perseverance to wanting to still build their business because their original goal was to build it for their parents. And because they lost someone that they were like, pretty much was their why, like why they were doing everything in their life was for their parents, yet they lost their parents, but they still continue to push forward. Because I know thousands of people who, if you lost their parents while you're building a business, they would just quit. Like they don't have a reason for it anymore, but they were able to push past that and really have a successful business for their parents because they knew that they would have been proud of them if they were here or not. And so that's something that I really took away. And actually, I'm not gonna lie, I remember I ended up actually crying just a little bit in that meeting because I'm like, if that were to happen to me, like if I were to lose my mom or my dad, like I don't know what I would do. I would probably just want to quit everything. So like knowing the fact that this strong couple was able to really push past that, it really like was like, man, like, yeah, this business isn't for the weak, but like, if you're really determined on like a goal and something you have set, like you can really do it, especially with the help of the association. Because that's another big thing that I took away too, was the association. And that's kind of what I wanted to get into as well, like I've never been in such a positive, uplifting association. Because I was like, when I first got to them, all right, what's the catch? Like, because me, I've always been backstabbed before. I've always had people do stuff behind my back. So it's like, all right, what's the catch? You know, like what do I gotta pay, or like what do I gotta do for you guys to be my friend? But no, people genuinely wanted to help me. There's no swearing, there's no drinking, there's no smoking. And so when I got put in an environment like that, it was like almost like a culture shock to me because I'm like, wait, these are young college students, young, like ambitious individuals just like me. They're dressed sharp. They speak very, like clearly, with conviction, very highly of themselves. Why can't I be like this? So I was like, all right, you know what? I want to be able to, develop myself because you can pretty much, like, let's say maybe in the future, like, this is something you want to move forward with. You can ask a bunch of people, oh, how was Christopher when he first started? Man, they'll tell you how different I was back then. But, so, like, I really think it was, like, just the people there, like, the association, but also, like, the stories that I heard from other people as well. But, hopefully that answered your question. I'm not sure if it did.
Yeah, no, they actually did. They
Okay,
did.
no, yeah, for sure. And then I remember I actually wanted to go into another topic as well, kind of just share a little bit more. I know I kind of just shared a little bit about like the association and kind of like the mentorship because yes, this is a business opportunity, but it comes with the mentorship as well. And so essentially, that's what like this like I'd say process that we have is for. It's for really the mentorship because I've never had anything outside of this business like it because these people really care about me, not just about like my finances and my business work, but they really care about me. Like I remember for the longest time. I was like, all right, I want to like grow more in my business. And my partner, my business partner, Tona, he's like, stop talking about your business. He's like, bro, focus on yourself first. He's like, you're still smoking, bro. Like, stop smoking. You got to lead your team by example. You got to, be like that pillar for them so they can lean on you. If you can't even be that, then how are you going to be able to grow your team? Like, you need to swallow your ego and really just, work on yourself. And so little things like that really make me realize that, okay, these people don't care about my money. They don't care about what I do for them. They just want me to be better. And so like I've had, like a very I'd say tight connection with these people because man, my business partner, he's done not just him, but a lot of people. They've done like things that my friends from back at high school, my old friends, probably would not do for me. Like when I first, was kind of still learning about the process, my mom didn't like how I would drive or didn't want me driving down to like San Jose or Santa Clara for the meetings. Bro, my business partner Tona would come up, drive like an hour and a half, pick me up, drive me an hour and a half back down to the meeting, drive me up an hour and a half back so he can drop me back off at home, and then drive back, again. And I'm like, man, he's doing like up 4 times back and forth, and like he's just not even sure if I'm gonna do this or not. Like he doesn't even like we don't even like haven't even known each other that long enough. So like the time and the effort that he's put into me now, I'm like, wow, like this is people that they genuinely care about me, and I don't really know them like that. Why shouldn't I open up to them? And so it was kind of just like that's kind of why it took me a little bit longer, just because I kind of kept myself like in a little shell. I didn't really want to open up to them. 'Cause like, man, I don't know these people. Why do I gotta tell them my life? But when I saw it from a different perspective, as they wanted to help me, not just like get to know what my problems were and make fun of me, because that's pretty much how I've been raised. Like I share with people, like when they make fun of you or they talk behind your back, or like you're vulnerable to one person and then like they tell like the whole world. But no, these people like they want to help you, and if you share with something with them, they'll keep it confidential unless you feel fine sharing it out. But I'd say that's one really big thing that helped me a lot. It's like in this, like, say, like this business opportunity, but also this mentorship. That's something I've liked a lot because it's really helped me grow, like a lot out of my comfort zone and really just change the way I dress, the way I talk, the way I carry myself, the way the people I hang around with. Because, man, I already told you my story, but yeah, it was just a lot growing up. But yeah, I mean, like, I don't know if you have any more questions, comments, concerns. If not, I could kind of give you like a little like I'd say like the most like surface level kind of breakdown of like what essentially this is, because I'm pretty sure you're probably wondering, right? Well, what is this business? Like what is it?
Yeah, I'm actually wondering. Yeah,
Okay, no, yeah. So yeah, so I'd say like to give you like I'd say like a brief explanation. It's e-commerce and franchising. Have you heard of them before?
I've heard of e-commerce, but I don't know what that means.
Okay, for sure. What have you heard about e-commerce so far? Like, what's your knowledge on e-commerce?
I have a short knowledge, just a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of knowledge on e-commerce. But to me, I see it as kind of like online business
Yeah.
or online market, and that's mainly.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, so I mean, you're not wrong. You're completely right. That's like the most basic level of like like the basic definition. We can use like Uber Eats. That's an e-commerce, platform. Why? Because Uber doesn't own any vehicles. They just own the platform. So essentially, this is Uber. They're in the middle. They own an application that people download. They go on it. They need a ride. So they connect people who have money, who need a ride, to people who have a car, who need money. What does Uber do? Connects those two people together. And pretty much, let's say in that maybe in that one transaction, maybe the driver makes 94% of, the money there. And Uber, let's say they make like 6% from that one transaction. Who do you think makes more just in this transaction?
I would say the person who makes more is the person who's driving.
Exactly. Yeah, the person who makes more, yeah, the person driving, Why? Because, they make most of the money then. But let's say what? You're in San Diego. Let's say there's like 25,000 Uber drivers there. You know, who do you think makes more money then? If you zoom out.
The person who owns the platform.
Exactly, which is Uber, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
if you look at it, yeah, 25,000 drivers in San Diego. Yeah, maybe each driver makes 94% for themselves, but Uber makes 6% from each transaction. So 6% times 25,000 is a lot more than just 94% of one transaction. And they're not really putting that much time or effort into it. Why? Because they already created a system that pretty much does it for them. And then I'd say, like, for franchising, we can use like Starbucks or like McDonald's, for example. Like, let me ask you, do you think McDonald's makes the best cheeseburgers?
Nah.
Nah, right? Yeah. Maybe the Pav, but that might even be pushing it. So I'd say you or me could probably make a better cheeseburger. Yeah, you're over there like, nah, the Pav's trash too. Nah, but no, yeah. So I'd say with McDonald's, it's like the reason why I'd say franchising is because it's simple, but it's not easy. It's simple because there's really only like every McDonald's is the same. They have a drive-through, the menus are the same, and it's not rocket science, to like really flip patties there. But it's not easy because people don't really have the capital to first get their own McDonald's because you can't really just build up your own McDonald's. You need to buy one. You got to go through corporate, and it's $1.2 million. So I don't think you or me combined have enough money to buy our own McDonald's. And then two, it's not really scalable. So like once you buy a McDonald's, you can't really teach someone, hey, this is how you start up your own McDonald's. No, you need to tell the other person, hey, do you have $1.2 million? Then we can talk. Then I can help you get your own McDonald's. So that's why, I'd say it's not easy. But to kind of like say connect it back to, my business is that it's simple because there's only really two things you need to do. Right now I'm actually doing one of them. One of them is just networking, just talking to people. Stepping out of your comfort zone and just really wanting to get to know people and just build genuine relationships with people. And then two is just sharing our product and service. And it's pretty simple. Those are the only two things you need to do, and that's really how you build business. But it's not easy. Why? Because first of all, we're human. We're emotional. Our car breaks down. We're college students. We don't have that much time. Maybe we lack prioritization. Maybe we lack some skills, public speaking, things like that. So, you know, we're emotional, it's human error, so things happen in life, we understand. And another thing is, maybe people just learn differently. So I'd say, like, it's simple, but it's not easy. Why? We have jobs, we have school, we have other commitments, we have other, I don't know, maybe you have another business, or maybe you have, certain commitments that you do with your family, things like that, religion, things like that. But that's completely fine. Me, I have all those types of things. It's really just a way of just really being able to balance everything around. And I don't like to use the word balance because I feel like balance is almost like impossible, especially being a college student now with like doing all these things. But I just say like stable. Like you're able to kind of just like put everything on like the teeter totter and it's kind of just moving like this. But yeah, I'd say that's like the most like I'd say like general explanation I can give you. I could go more in depth right now, but I don't think you or me want to stay here for like another 2 to 3 hours talking about business. I don't want to have you there in your car burning up probably, and then I don't want to be here, talking the next like 3 hours about it. But that's kind of why we break it down into kind of like steps. So like after today, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can definitely reach out to me. I'm not sure if maybe you'd be interested in meeting up again. If you would be, the next meeting would kind of go over like like the business model, like the structure of it, kind of how it works to kind of give you like a more like broader idea of what this really is. And you know, I'm not sure if you know if I remember you mentioned earlier you said that like Shadrach kind of like told you about to read business books. I kind of want to ask like after this like this meeting my mentor usually suggests like I share one type of material either like a video or a business book. So I wanted to ask like have you heard of the book called Business of the 21st Century?
No,
No? Are you familiar with the author called Robert Kiyosaki?
to be honest, a little bit, but I don't think so. The
Okay.
name bell
Yeah.
though.
He wrote the book called Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't think I'm
Now you're
familiar with
good.
it.
Now you're good.
Mhm.
So I wanted to ask you first. Are you more of a reader or you like to watch videos?
I would say video and like audio type
Video
of
and audio?
stuff.
Okay, for sure, yeah. So if you're okay with it, I'd like to send you like an audio, like a video. It actually has my mentor in there. He'll be kind of showing you a bit more of like entrepreneurship and maybe why you should pursue entrepreneurship. Maybe not like as your main focus, but on the side, like why you should learn about it. Kind of dives into a few topics, maybe like about some values and things like that. I think it would be really beneficial. It's like less than an hour. It's like 50-minute video, 54-minute video. Um, if I were to send that to you, Merdard, how long do you think it would take you to kind of get through it and maybe like take some notes or like a reflection about it?
I think as soon as I'm free, I could, yeah.
Okay, for sure. No, yeah. I want to ask you. I know me a little bit. I kind of lack checking my LinkedIn. I need to get better at that. I want to ask you, is there like maybe a better way we can stay in contact? Like, do you think maybe we can exchange phone numbers?
Yeah, phone numbers will be better because I don't think I check my LinkedIn that
Oh
often.
yeah, but if you text me, I'll see right away. Like, oh dang, all right, I gotta respond to this guy real quick. I got you here. Let me share my phone number with you on the chat. All right, there you go. You can just send me a message and I'll just save your phone number. But yeah, I can forward you that video. If you don't have any more questions, comments, concerns right now, that's completely fine. If you do, ask me away. But for sure, you will probably have some in the future. So I'm just a text message away. But yeah, I mean, it was really great getting to know you and really cool about like getting to know your story a little bit more and getting to know like I actually know that Shadrach, so that was like pretty cool too because like he's someone that like I really look up to a lot too, and I speak very highly of him because you know he kind of brought me back from like a almost like a dark place that I was in. He really like enlightened me again and really gave me that like self belief.
Frederick is actually a cool person, man. I can't lie to you. He's one of the. I sent a message by the way. He's one of the few people that I can consider like someone I can look at as a close friend and a mentor. He's great.
Yeah, and I mean it's like such a small world too because it's like when you told me that you knew him, I'm like when I said Shadrach, I saw your face. You were like, wait, does he know the same Shadrach as me? I was like, wait, hold on, no way he knows the same guy as me. But no, yeah, because I'm pretty sure he's from San Diego as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome, man. I actually have a friend that's over there in San Diego too. I'm not sure if you know him or not. His name's Eduardo. He lives over there, but he was my roommate this last year.
There's a couple of Dwarves that I know from San Diego, so I don't know which one it will be.
He's really short, Eduardo Roron. Maybe, maybe not.
Okay, that I know one. I don't think he's in one of the Dwarves. No, I probably don't. I probably don't.
Nah, all good, all good. I mean, I know San Diego is pretty big. I've actually never been there. I want to go, and it's super nice over there. I'm actually gonna go on what is it like a little like a I don't want to say a business trip, but more of kind of like a business kind of getaway. Because yes, we're business owners. We work hard, but we also play hard. So we want to go out and have some fun. We're gonna go to Santa Barbara actually. We're gonna have like a little like a little camping trip there. Me and a few of my business partners are kind of just gonna go out and we make some s'mores. Talk about some values. I'm gonna do a little talent show too. I'm gonna perform in front of a few of my business partners. Been practicing this song a little bit, but yeah, I'm gonna perform in Spanish. But yeah. I mean, it was awesome getting to know you, Merdard. If you have like any questions, comments, concerns, just feel free to reach out to me. I saved your phone number, and I'll send you that video from my mentor, man. And let's stay in touch, bro.
Yeah, for sure, definitely, definitely. Fam. I
Uh,
appreciate the time you
yeah,
too.
no worries, my man. All right then,
Honestly.
bro. Sounds good. I'll let you have a good rest of your day. Do you have any plans for the rest of the day today?
Uh, probably. What you gonna call it? I don't know what type of plans I have, but I do got some plans. I'm just not sure yet, but probably because I'm looking to move out of this place, so I'll be going around touring houses and stuff.
There you go. There you go. Okay. Are you currently living with your parents right now, or do you?
Yeah.
Okay, for sure, for sure. Well,
Mm.
yeah, then, man. Sounds good, then, bro. I hope you have a good rest of your day. You're able to find maybe some other places to live at. But yeah, man. You have a
Yeah,
good
of
rest of your
course.
day, and it was good talking to you, bro. I'll stay in touch with you, alright, my man.
Yep.
All right,
All
then.
right.
Peace out, bro.